Sara Denby, you're the head of the Unstereotype Alliance Secretariat based in New York. Can you provide us with the main mission you're doing for the industry mostly?
Yeah, pleasure, and thanks so much for having me here. The Unstereotype Alliance is a thought and action program that is convened by UN Women. So I do head up the Secretariat at UN Women in New York. It's a membership-based initiative of advertisers, agency networks, media platforms that are committed to eliminating harmful stereotypes from advertising and media content. And by putting progressive portrayals of all people in our content, that's how we're going to drive social change.
And to achieve your goals, how do you work with the advertising agencies and also self-regulatory organizations like the ARPP, for example?
Well, it's very much a membership-based initiative, so we work to develop tools and resources so that brands and creatives can develop unstereotyped content and check their work for unconscious bias every step of the way. We also work to foster equality in the workplace, because who makes the work is who shows up in the work, so diversity, equity and inclusion is increasingly important. Making sure that whoever sits in the consumer audiences that brands serve are also involved behind the camera and throughout the creative development process, because that's how we'll get authentic voice and storytelling into the content.
And specifically how the French industry is going on and working on this matter.
We've had lots of conversations with the French industry, specifically yourselves, ARPP, and then also Union de Marque, and we very much hope to establish one of our national chapters in France in the near future. The Unstereotype Alliance has 237 member organisations around the world and 12 national chapters. I think it's time we had one in France. We run a piece of research every 2 years called the Gender Equality Attitude Study. It does a deep dive into up to 20 countries now and their attitudes towards gender. France is one of those countries, so I encourage you to go to our website unstereotypealliance.org and download that study. Lots of amazing insights, some sobering, some encouraging about the progress towards gender equality in each country. But when we specifically ask about media and advertising content, in France, 60% of people believe that women are still portrayed in very traditional gender roles in advertising, so as mothers, caregivers, and, predominantly in the home. Whereas 75% of people believe men are still portrayed in very traditional gender roles. So that is the caregiver, the family provider, and corporate leaders. So that's something that in terms of presenting progressive views and aspirational visual narratives, we really need to look at addressing and starting to present women in leadership roles and women in decision-making roles outside of the home, equitable partnerships and relationships on screen, and most importantly, men in caregiving roles and men showing vulnerability and friendships and strong equitable relationships with their partner, with their children. It makes such an important difference. So that's something that that the French industry could start doing more of.
And last question, this is almost the end of this Cannes Lions 2023 week, so what are the key insights you can tell about?
The Alliance has hosted a number of different sessions throughout the week, and it's been a really amazing week of necessary conversations, really valuable insights. There's a couple of things I'd touch on. One is the Alliance launched its first public awareness campaign, Say Nothing, Change Nothing. We launched that on the main stage on Tuesday, and it's a campaign that will roll out around the world, raising awareness about the harmful nature of stereotypes with the public. So we've very much been a B2B, a business-to-business alliance until now. Now we're talking directly to the public because people have told us, I see stereotypes happening every day, I don't know what to say, to speak up against them. I don't want to exacerbate the situation. So say nothing, change nothing gives them the tools and resources and the language to actually speak up. Another theme we've focused on this week is healthy masculinities in advertising. We've put a lot of focus until now on progressive female roles, but we've left men and boys behind. And we're seeing the impact of that in the gender attitudes of young men in particular. They're going backwards, and it's a really worrying trend. There's a lack of role models for young men, and so they're following all the wrong people on social, but also their anxiety rates are going up, depression is going up. There's a huge amount of change the advertising industry can help influence through the content, positive role models, positive messaging.
Thanks a lot, Sara Denby.
You're welcome. So lovely to see you again, Stefan.